They rejected him before he finished his sentence. The interview room was clean, quiet, and cold in that way offices get when decisions are already made. Marcus Reed sat straight in the chair, resumed neatly aligned on the table, hands folded like he'd learned years ago not to give anyone a reason to misread him. The employing officer, Joe, skimmed the page once. Not carefully, just enough to look busy. "We've decided to move in a different direction," the man said, already pushing the resume back across the table. Marcus blinked. May I ask why?" "I meet every listed requirement." Joe's lips tightened into something that wasn't quite a smile. "We're looking for someone who's a better cultural fit." Each word made the room smaller. Marcus nodded slowly. He had heard that phrase before. Too many times. "Understood," he said calmly. "Thank you for your time." What Joe didn't know was that the interview wasn't over.
Before we continue, if stories like this remind you that respect should never depend on how someone looks, tap like, share this video, and subscribe to Black Justice so more people can hear these powerful lessons and stay with us to the end of this narration. It helps the channel grow and keeps these stories alive. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. Now back to the story.
Marcus stood, smoothed his jacket, and reached for the door. Before his hand touched the handle, it opened from the other side. A woman stepped in, confident, composed, heels clicking softly against the floor. She was young, professional, and carried herself like someone who didn't need permission to enter any room. "Dad," she said gently, smiling. "Sorry I'm late." Joe froze. Marcus turned, surprise flickering across his face. "Ava." She hugged him briefly, not rushed, not apologetic. Joe cleared his throat. Excuse me. This is a private interview." Ava turned to him, her expression polite but firm. "I know. I'm Ava Reed, Director of Operations." Silence fell hard. Joe's eyes darted from her face to Marcus, then back again, like he was trying to rearrange reality fast enough to save himself. "Director of Operations?" he repeated. "Yes," Ava said evenly. "I oversee hiring standards and compliance across all departments." Marcus said nothing. He didn't need to. Joe laughed once, thin, nervous. "Well, this is unexpected." Ava tilted her head slightly. "Is it?" Joe gestured toward Marcus. "I didn't realize he was." "My father," Ava finished, "and a senior project manager with 25 years of experience." Joe shifted in his chair. "Of course, but our decision wasn't personal." Ava glanced at the resume on the table, then at Joe, then back at her father. "You dismissed him in under 2 minutes," she said, "without discussing his portfolio, without verifying references, and without documenting a measurable reason." Joe opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. "I am the employment officer. We're allowed discretion." Ava nodded. You're not allowed discrimination." Marcus finally spoke, voice low and steady. "Ava, it's okay." She met his eyes. "It's not." She turned back to Joe. "You used the phrase cultural fit. Do you have a written definition for that?" Joe swallowed. "It's subjective." Ava didn't raise her voice. She raised the truth. "Subjective decisions are precisely where bias hides," she said. "That's why we track them." The room felt heavier now, smaller, like the walls were listening. Ava pulled out her tablet. "I reviewed today's interviews. 3 candidates. My father was the only one dismissed immediately, the only black applicant, the only one not offered a follow-up." Joe's face drained the color. "This is being taken out of context." Ava shook her head gently. "Context is exactly what we're in." She looked at Marcus again. "Dad, would you like the position?" Marcus hesitated. Years of swallowed moments sat behind his eyes. "I'd like a fair process," he said quietly. Ava smiled, soft, proud. "You'll get one." She turned back to Joe. "Effective immediately. You're suspended pending review. HR will contact you by end of day." Joe stood abruptly. "You can't do this." Ava didn't flinch. "I already did." Security appeared at the doorway, not aggressive, just present. Marcus picked up his resume. This time, Ava handed it to him herself. I'm proud of you, she said softly. He exhaled, something untying in his chest. I'm proud of you, too. They walked out together, not victorious, just dignified. Because justice isn't about humiliation. It's about accountability. Respect costs nothing, but means everything.
If this story touched your heart and remind you that fairness should never depend on who walks in next, take a moment to subscribe. Your support helps us share more Black justice stories that inspire change, spark awareness, and remind the world what dignity truly looks like. Share and leave a comment. Your voice helps bring these stories to life and keeps the message alive. Your voice matters here,